I have a new The Main shirt and I'm so happy about it. Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be going over my September TBR. Okay, before we get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments what is one book on your September TBR that you're really looking forward to. You guys know the drill at this point, so let's go into my reading goals for the month. And first, as always, is a nonfiction book. This month I'm going to be reading Hunger, A Memoir of My Body by Roxane Gay, and this is Roxane Gay's memoir in which she is specifically looking at her relationship with food, weight, and her self-image. I talked about this in my 5-star predictions video, which I recently came out with, and I cannot wait to pick this up. I'm sure it's going to be very heavy, but I also know I'm probably going to have a million tabs in this when I finish. After that one is my backlisted book for the month. So this is a book that has been out for more than 5 years, and this month it's actually going to be a comic. It is Harley Quinn Volume 3 Kiss Kiss Bang Bang by this lovely assortment of individuals. This one is picking up where the second volume left off, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't remember what happened in that because it's been quite a while since I read it. I really need to get back in the habit of continuing my series, and specifically I really want to get back on top of reading comics. My brother has a mini comics that I would love to borrow, but I need to make time for them. After that is my diverse read for the month, and that is going to be Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This was a semi-possibility last month, but it hasn't gotten read. This story is following our main character whose best friend Monday has suddenly disappeared, and any of the adults in her life are not really concerned about it, so our main character starts to investigate Monday's disappearance. I'm really intrigued about this one. I've heard lots of great things. I've also heard it's pretty heavy, so hopefully it won't be too emotionally taxing, but I'm very intrigued to finally try out more of Tiffany D. Jackson's work. Following that is my young adult book for the month, and that's going to be Jane Anonymous by Lori Ferreira Soleras, and this is following a young woman who was kidnapped and held hostage for 6 months. She has recently been released and the man who was holding her captive caught, but Jane remembers another young boy being held hostage with her, although none of the police can find any evidence of him, so she decides to investigate it herself. I'm really excited to get into this. I think I might have heard about this on Haley and Bookland's channel, but I haven't seen anyone else talk about it since. I'm really hoping this is going to be a new YA mystery favorite. And then finally, my adult book this month, it is going to be The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I believe this is a romance book following our main character who works at a radio show and ends up getting partnered with this new guy that she doesn't really like, and they decide to make a radio show as though they are exes giving relationship advice, and then, you know, lo and behold, they're gonna fall in love with each other. I haven't heard great things about this, but it's a pick for the book club I do with my 2 best friends, so we'll see how this goes. As normal, after my reading goals, let's dive into my book clubs I am planning to participate. I have a few new book clubs this month that I can't wait to join. As usual, all of the information for these book clubs will be in the description box down below if you're interested in joining as well. The first book club is a new one, and that is going to be Brujas and Books. For this month, it is The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina by Zoraida Cordova. I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't know a ton about this when I picked it up from Book of the Month. I did hear that if you were a fan of Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, you will likely love this. I've heard tons of great things about Cordova's writing. I believe this is a story following a family, and the matriarch will never leave her home. However, she ends up inviting many people from the family to her home because she believes she is going to die, and she bestows some kind of gift upon them, but it doesn't really showcase itself until 4 years later, when suddenly, I think it is the sisters or cousins, possibly, who suddenly start to showcase different magical abilities. I'm very intrigued about this one. The cover is just stunning, so I really am excited to read this and hopefully have a great discussion with this new book club. As I already mentioned, the pick for the book club I do with my best friends is The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. And then the other book club I am planning to participate in this month is another new one, which is the Lights Out book club. And this month's pick is Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Obviously, I loved her book Mexican Gothic and The Gods of Jade and Shadow, so I am very intrigued to read her newest release. I believe the story story is set in 1970s Mexico and is following our main character, who is fascinated by her gorgeous and glamorous next door neighbor. However, her next door neighbor ends up disappearing, and she becomes interested in the case, tries to investigate, and sees that her neighbor was into a lot more things than she expected. But at the same time, a criminal is also searching out the neighbor and trying to find her, and I believe the two end up working together and becoming a unlikely pair of heroes? Question mark? I have no idea, but I'm very intrigued to read this. I love Moreno Garcia's writing. It is so atmospheric and just beautiful. I think she does a fantastic job of bringing her settings to life, and I can't wait to see where this mystery is going to lead. Okay, and then for this final section, it is just the last few books I'm planning to read that I haven't discussed previously. First is a arc I received from NetGalley, and that is going to be Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, and is following a man who has recently died but refuses to cross over into the afterlife and ends up falling in love with the ferryman. I've heard this is a bit darker and has some heavier topics, so I'm wondering if it is going to have that emotional punch in the gut that the Green Creek series has. I'm really expecting that's what's going to happen here. I'm ready for it though. I can't wait. The last two books I haven't discussed are going to be for a secret TBR that's going to be coming out, but the first one is The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. I believe this story is following a biracial Native American girl who has never really felt at home in her tribe and ends up getting thrust into the middle of this investigation and having to work as a undercover spy while also trying to solve the mystery herself, and I'm so ready for this. This cover, also amazing, trying not to shine the light on it, but it is so beautiful. I've heard fantastic things thus far, and I can't wait to get into it, even though she's a little bit of a chonker. Finally, the last book I'm planning to read this month is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is the first book in a YA mystery trilogy. I've heard amazing things about it. I'm definitely gonna pick up the audiobook, I promise, because I've heard it is just fantastically done. I think it has a multimedia aspect. I should probably tell you what it's actually about, huh? This story, I believe, is following a high school student who decides to make her senior capstone project this mystery that has been well known in the town, even though the person that the town believes was behind the mystery has already been caught, but our main character doesn't think that person's actually guilty. I've been putting this off for a while because it has so much hype around it, and I've been a bit nervous that it's not going to live up to all of it, but the last book just came out recently, and so I think now is the perfect time to finally just pick it up, and maybe if I fall in love, I'll end up blasting through the rest of the series also. Okay guys, so that is it. As always, thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I have my Goodreads, Storygraph, and Insta all linked in the description if you're interested in trying to follow all of the stuff I am reading. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!
Thank you.